Deep within the labyrinth of the human mind, there exist subtle techniques capable of shifting the will of others. Welcome to a world that is as intriguing as it is unnerving, the art of manipulation. Manipulation, in its essence, is a psychological tool wielded by many to influence the actions and decisions of others. It's a craft that has been honed over centuries, a skill that permeates every aspect of our lives, often without us even realizing it. From the grand stage of politics where leaders sway millions with their words, to the glitzy world of advertising where products are sold not on their merit but on the emotions they evoke, manipulation is a constant silent companion. It's a game of chess, where the players are not just pawns but the king and queen themselves, their moves dictated by the unseen hands of manipulators. But today we're not just talking about the benign forms of manipulation we encounter in our everyday lives. We're delving into the darker side of this psychological art form, a place where the lines between influence and control blur, where ethics become optional, and where the stakes are much higher. In this realm, manipulation is not just about convincing someone to buy a product or vote for a candidate. It's about bending someone's will to suit your own, leading them down a path of your choosing without them realizing they're being led. Over the course of this analysis, we will pull back the curtain on 3 specific techniques used in this darker form of manipulation. Each of these methods is powerful, capable of altering perceptions and shaping decisions, and each comes with its own set of ethical considerations, raising questions about the lengths people will go to in order to influence others. But before we venture down this path, let's be clear. Knowledge of these techniques is not an endorsement to use them. Rather, it's an invitation to understand them, to recognize them when they're being used, and to guard against their influence. Stay with us as we explore the shadowy corners of the human psyche, where manipulation takes root. Our first journey into the twilight of manipulation brings us to the concept of reciprocity. This principle is deeply ingrained in our social fabric, a silent rule that governs our interactions. At its core, reciprocity is the mutual exchange of actions or things between people. It's the very reason why you might feel compelled to return a favor when someone does something nice for you. But what happens when this seemingly innocuous social norm treads the shadowy path of manipulation? Well, it transforms into a powerful tool wielded by those with ulterior motives. Manipulators exploit this sense of obligation, often giving something first, creating a feeling of indebtedness. The recipient, bound by the unwritten rules of society, feels compelled to return the favor, often in ways that serve the manipulator's agenda. Let's consider an example. Picture a friend who often compliments your style. Over time, you grow used to their praise and even start to expect it. One day they ask to borrow your favorite jacket. Despite any reservations, you might feel an obligation to lend it to them. After all, they've always been so kind and complimentary. This is reciprocity in action, subtly manipulated, or perhaps you've been at a charity event where you've been handed a small free gift. Later, when asked for a donation, you might find yourself reaching for your wallet. The gift, no matter how small, created an obligation. You've been primed to give back, and often what you give is far more than what you received. At its core, reciprocity is a beautiful principle, fostering a sense of community and mutual respect. However, when misused, it can turn into a puppeteer's string, pulling unsuspecting individuals towards the manipulator's desired outcome. In the hands of a skilled manipulator, the power of reciprocity can be a potent force, bending the will of others subtly and often unnoticed. It's a testament to the darker side of human psychology, where even the most innocent social norms can be twisted and repurposed. Reciprocity, a seemingly innocent social norm, can be twisted into a tool of manipulation. Our next stop in this exploration of manipulation techniques is the illusion of scarcity. Imagine you're walking through a market and you spot a fruit stand. The vendor tells you there's only one basket of your favorite fruit left. Suddenly, your desire for that fruit intensifies. That, dear listeners, is the illusion of scarcity at work, a psychological principle that suggests when we believe something is rare or hard to obtain, we value it more. But why does scarcity have such a powerful influence on us? It's all about perception. Our brains are wired to associate rarity with value. It's a survival instinct from our ancestors who lived in a world where resources were often limited. When something is scarce, we perceive it as more valuable, and we're more likely to want it. Now imagine that fruit stand scenario again, but this time you're the vendor. You know very well that you have a whole truckload of that fruit in the back, but you tell your customers there's only one basket left. You've created an illusion of scarcity, and now watch as your customers scramble to get that last basket. This is how manipulators use the illusion of scarcity. They create a sense of urgency to influence decisions. They might say things like, "Offer ends soon," or "only a few left in stock." It's a simple yet potent technique that can make even the most rational among us act impulsively. But remember, like all manipulation techniques, the illusion of scarcity can be used for both good and evil. A marketer might use it to boost sales, while a con artist might use it to trick people into buying something worthless. It's a tool, and like all tools, its impact depends on the hands that wield it. So the next time you feel that rush of urgency to grab the last item off the shelf or to take advantage of a limited time offer, pause. Ask yourself, is this a genuine scarcity, or is it just an illusion crafted to manipulate my decision? The illusion of scarcity, a simple yet powerful tool in the manipulator's arsenal. Our final descent into the realm of manipulation techniques leads us to the power of social proof. Picture this: a bustling city sidewalk, full of people heading in one direction. Suddenly one person stops, looks up and starts pointing at the sky. One by one, the others stop and look up too, craning their necks to see what's caught the first person's attention. This, my friends, is social proof in action. Social proof is a psychological phenomenon in which individuals mirror the actions and attitudes of those around them. It's a survival instinct, really. If everyone else is doing it, it must be the right thing to do, right? But here's the kicker. Individuals who understand and exploit this concept can wield it like a powerful tool. Imagine being able to influence a person's decisions simply by crafting an environment where everyone else appears to be making the choice you want them to make. In the world of manipulation, this is akin to being a puppet master with an entire crowd of puppets at your disposal. The darker side of social proof, of course, lies in its ability to make us bypass our critical thinking skills. When we see others following a particular course of action, we tend to follow suit without questioning why. It's a herd mentality, and it's exploited by manipulators on a daily basis. Take the world of advertising, for instance. Ever wondered why companies use phrases like best-selling or most popular in their marketing? It's because they know that we're more likely to buy something if we think everyone else is buying it too. So, how do we combat the power of social proof? It's all about critical thinking. Question why you're making the decisions you're making. Are you following the crowd, or are you making a choice based on your own thoughts and beliefs? Remember, social proof isn't inherently evil, but like any tool, its impact depends on the hands that wield it. So, next time you find yourself going with the flow, take a moment to ask yourself why. Social proof, a potent force that can sway the masses. As we emerge from the depths of manipulation techniques, we must confront the ethical implications of these methods. At the heart of our exploration lies a critical question. Just because we can manipulate, should we? The answer, as with many ethical conundrums, isn't black and white. It's a spectrum of grays, a journey through the foggy landscape of morality. Manipulation, in essence, is an attempt to control another's behavior or thoughts, often without their awareness. It's a covert operation, one that can yield significant power over another person's actions. But with that power comes a moral quandary. Is it ever right to infringe upon another's autonomy, to puppeteer their decisions? This question becomes even murkier when we consider the potential harm these techniques can inflict. Manipulation can lead to emotional distress, mistrust, and even psychological trauma. It can erode relationships, instilling a sense of paranoia and fear where once was trust and affection. But here's the twist. Understanding these techniques doesn't necessarily make you the villain. Quite the contrary, it can equip you with a shield of awareness, a safeguard against those who might seek to exploit your vulnerabilities. Consider this. A magician reveals his tricks not to create more illusionists, but to delight in the artistry of the craft, to share the wonder. Similarly, this exploration of manipulation isn't an instruction manual for puppeteers. It's a guide to understanding the strings that might be invisibly attached to our own actions. When we recognize these techniques in action, we can better protect ourselves and those we care about. We can foster a culture of transparency, where manipulation is replaced with open and honest communication. We can use our knowledge not to control, but to cultivate empathy, understanding, and respect. Knowledge is power, but with power comes responsibility. Use these insights wisely, for the mind is a delicate thing to manipulate.